So another remote control here that doesn't work. So we're going to take this one apart and see if we can get this one working like we did the other one and put it back into service, as this is a universal remote. Check it out. Got another one of these old remote controls here, and normally when these remotes fail we just replace them with one of the new ones at work. The problem with the new ones is the new ones don't do as much as the old ones. The new remotes are nice if you only want to control your TV, turn it on and off, and change the channel on your cable box, and possibly change the volume on your receiver. But if you've got any additional equipment, the new remotes that we issue just won't control it. So you're juggling remote controls. The nice thing about these old ones is that they can control the set-top box, it could control the TV, it could control a DVD player or a VCR, and your sound system. It had 4 separate controls, and you just press the buttons on the top and it would light up and allow you to control different features. As you can see, the buttons on this one are not working. That button's not working, that button's not working, because these should light up red. I have one that I use myself to control my TV in the shop. It's an even older one. As you can see, when I press the buttons, the different buttons light up to tell me what mode I'm going to operate. So in other words, in TV mode, when I hit the up and down arrow buttons here, I can actually change the TV channel, and I can access the TV remote and the volume and stuff. And if I go into the set-top box mode, now it's going to control the functions of the set-top box, the channels and so forth. And when I put it into DVD mode, I can now control my Blu-ray player. All the functions of my Blu-ray player can be controlled on this remote control here, which is nice. They're very nice. These were Philips remotes, and they control a lot of features. So when these ones fail, I like to try and repair them, because we don't have these ones anymore, and I like them. Plus the fact that when I've got a piece of equipment that I'm going to sell, like for example, I've got a VCR that I'd like to sell that needs a remote, and I don't have a remote for it. But there's a good chance if I can get this remote that I picked out of the garbage working, I can then give this remote with the VCR, and the person will be happy, and they'll be able to control all the functions of that VCR. So let's get started on opening up one of these remotes and seeing whether this one can be fixed. These use the rubber keypads on them, so usually they're fixable. These units use a small Torx bit, which I don't have one small enough, but fortunately a good old Phillips screwdriver will take these out, because they're not in that tight, just a number 0, and I'm just using it to remove the screw, and then the remote should pop open using the good old screwdriver or spudger tool. They just have little plastic clips that hold them together. And we'll see how bad this one is inside. And it's pretty bad. It's obviously had something spilled on it. You can see the remnants. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the circuit board and I'm going to wash it. And just going to wash it with soap and water. And then dry it, and then do the same for the rubber keypad here, and we'll see whether that will restore operation. A lot of times that's all you need to do is just clean these up, and you can see the remnants of whatever was spilt on this. Technically that shouldn't have been a warranty replacement, but when someone abuses their remotes, I say they should have to buy a new remote. But anyway, let's get this cleaned up. I'm just going to take it in the house and just wash it with soap and water, and we'll dry it off, and we'll see what happens. See if this one can be brought back to life. Most of these remotes can. Oh, that may be a bit of a problem. You notice that that foil might be damaged, so we may have to just bridge over that. I was using high pressure air to dry this thing, and it looks like the air pressure may have damaged the board ever so slightly, so we'll just repair that. It's probably okay, but I'm just going to put a bit of solder over top of it. Solder, the correct pronunciation, by the way, because I'm not an American, I do pronounce the L. So don't correct me on it, because technically you're both correct. The Americans pronounce things a little different than we do in the rest of the world. But every time I say solder, somebody has to try and correct me and tell me it's solder. I don't think it was an open connection situation. I just want to make sure that we do have good continuity on that trace. I believe that trace goes up to here. Yep. And the other end of that trace goes down to like right down there. So we're over here. There we go. See? Good continuity. Okay. So we know that that's not going to be an issue. As you can see, the rubber keypad is nice and clean now. We'll put that back into the upper cabinet. No, I didn't clean the upper cabinet. It's still dirty. But then, hey, if this works, it's going to be a giveaway, so I'm not too worried about that. Gotcha, you bugger. Look at that. Giant mosquitoes flying around here already. I don't know how that one got in the shop, but I could hear this thing buzzing around my head, and I just took them out. Took him out before he could bite me too. I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are thinking, oh, I probably stabbed the circuit board with my screwdriver when I was opening it up, but I actually opened it up on this side. The place where the trace was broken was on this side. You can see where I fixed it, right here. And where I opened the thing up was over here. Just saying, because I figured somebody's gonna say, oh, you jabbed the screwdriver in there and broke the circuit board yourself. No, I didn't. I was on the other side. Okay, a couple batteries in this thing and see if this thing's gonna light up like it's supposed to. Shall we check it? The top buttons up here, they light up like they are supposed to. All the buttons, let's see that they all work. I think this is going to be a successful repair. And then I'll drag out that VCR and we'll look for the code for this thing. Yeah, that there. And all the buttons here. Yeah. all the buttons appear to be working. Yeah, they're all working. Power, TV, DVD, and auxiliary. All the buttons are working. Okay, excellent. Now, I'll put that other screw in, and then I'm going to get my little master chart out that I have for this particular remote. I have a list of, because I've got a couple brand new remotes like this that are never been used. Since this is what I use on my own system at home, as I like this remote. Put the batteries in. Okay, we'll drag up that, I think it was a Sanyo. We'll drag up that VCR, and I'll find the code and program this up and see if I can get all the functions control. That was the VCR that I serviced last week, that when you turn it on, it asks you to select the RF channel, and you can't do anything with it until you do that. So it's kind of imperative that I find a remote that I could control that unit with. Now, of course, you remember this VCR, and it has the RF selection. So what I need to do is I need to find a code for this thing to allow me to turn it on and off, and hopefully that'll get me into the menu. So I've got my master sheet for this remote, how to program it. And how you do it on these ones is you select the mode you want to use. I'm going to use the, I guess, the DVD one, or the auxiliary, it doesn't matter. I'll try the auxiliary button. So I'll press the auxiliary button and it'll light up. And then I have to press and hold auxiliary and the OK button at the same time, and then I'm going to enter the 4-digit code. And for Sanyo, there is, I think there's only 3 of them. Yeah, 3007, 3070, 3201. So we'll try 3007 first. So I press and hold the 2 buttons. And then I go 3007. And it'll flash, and if I press the power button now, it turns off. Excellent. So that's got the right channel. Let's see if the menu button will work, because sometimes the menu buttons won't do, it'll only do certain functions. And it looks like this one here. Okay, English. How do I control it? I'm using the play button to select that. Auto tuning memory. Okay. So I'm just pressing the play button to go through. I don't have any cable hooked up. I'll hook up my cable to this thing here. Looks like it's going to do both the regular band and the cable band. So I have signals on 4 and 5, 7, 9, and 12. I was just going to test this machine out, and I just came across this tape. Look at this. It's a Baxell T180. Oh, this tape has had a lot of wear on it. Look at this. This tape is, I can tell you what's going to be on this tape. I used to use these tapes in a time-lapse recorder to record my security system long before I went to a hard drive based system. So this has probably got some recordings on it that were done. It's not going to play back properly, I don't think, on this machine, because it was done on a time-lapse machine, but let's just see whether it'll actually play the video on it. It should be going by very quick if it does. So I just want to try this out, make sure this remote works. If I press the play button on here, it does go into play. This is a recording that was made a long time ago, and to say it's not going to play back properly, this would have been 2004. 08/21/2004. And those are the vehicles that I had at the time. You see my little sign there? That was the same sign that's on my door now that says Canada Post, please don't leave anything at the door. That was then at the time when my backyard looked totally different, because the house wasn't finished. This area you see down here where my kids used to play, that's got a room on it now. The house was only half finished at the time. My driveway wasn't even finished. I was still in the process of building the house. So this is when the house was brand new. I built this place in 2003. And yeah, it wasn't finished, but I've still got that car too. It's a 95 Super Coupe that's in storage, which is, there's not a lot around. The color doesn't look right on the camera here, but the paint changes color, and it's in storage now. It's quite a rare car, because the paint color was rare on it, but It's the last year that Ford made the Thunderbird Super Coupe, 95. They made 615 with a manual transmission, and they only made 4,000 with an automatic. That one's got an automatic. They only made 4,000 of them. So yeah, that's my old car that I'm gonna. It's 25 years old now, so it's a collector's car that someday is going to be driven. Let's say it gets very poor fuel economy. It goes like a bat out of hell, but it does not get good fuel economy. But you can see how quick the tape is running there. That's the seconds. The reason why this picture is like this is that's that crease in the tape. A tape on one of these time-lapse machines was good for, because the tape ran so slow and it ran 24 hours a day, it was only typically good for about a month of use, because it would record, I think, 40 hours or so, and then it would rewind and start over automatically. Was what this length of tape went. And I also ran some T200s on it, but I used to use the 180s because they were not quite as thin as the 200s. But it typically was good for about a month of just being, you know, used every day and a half, basically every 40 hours. The tape would wear out. It would wear out really quick. But those are the fun times of security systems onto analog tape. See, if we look now at the this is a live shot, but if we look now, oh, I have a guest. But if we look now, that other camera, this is the area that other camera was looking, but it was looking the other direction. It was looking back the other way, but that's where it was. Oh, I have a visitor here, and I'm trying to remember who that is. You know what? It's an old friend of mine, and he's actually a viewer. He goes by the name of Harry P on my channel there. But that's Harry. I guess he was over here visiting me. It's hard to tell. You wouldn't recognize him now because he's totally bald. But yeah, it was. Yeah, he was over either dropping something off or picking something up from me at the time. But yeah, that's an old VHS time-lapse tape that I found. It's always interesting.
Some people like their cars.
When you find an old tape, you never know what you're going to find on it. Check this out.
And some people really like their cars. The 2002 Accord from Honda.
That's right. This was recorded in 2002, this VHS tape.
$39 a month for 39 months.
Saturn is working to keep our economy strong. In jobs, in commerce, and in spirit. As part of that effort, we're providing interest-free financing on select 2002 coupes, sedans, and wagons. Come visit your Saturn retailer and keep America rolling.
Classic old commercials, gotta love it. From tape that was almost forgotten. I can't play this because it's the plays of the year, and I'm sure that the sports people will get upset with that, but I was looking for a tape to record on, and I guess I can't really record on that tape because you never know what might be on it. Okay, I got a tape I can record on. I'll just hit the record button here. There we go. Just want to make sure that this machine actually is going to record. It should, but I think I tested it with record before. I just couldn't, no I couldn't, because I couldn't change the channel on it. So I couldn't tune anything in on this when I fixed this machine. I could only play back because without the remote it was locked on that screen. It would not let me select the tuner. So here's a quick recording. Yep, it works. So that's how you fix an old remote control that's shot. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you later. Bye.